Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and a great start to your week. So first and foremost, I would like to say a big thank you for all the support under my last video. And I mean it when I say that if not for you guys, I would be probably beating myself up to death. Now, with all of the support, an email came through which inspired this video. It's a common misconception that the only reason the trucking market is in the state that it's in right now is because of COVID and all of the capacity that came in. And while it is part of the reason, it's definitely not the only one. So today I want to dedicate this video to discussing how we ended up in this situation that we see today so that we can be better prepared if something like this happens again. Ready? Let's go! So in the past 10 years, there are two moments that can be summed up as an excellent time to be a trucker. That's 2018 and 2021. According to DAT, in 2018, there was a huge uptick in volume due to Hurricane Harvey and Hurricane Irma. There was also a change in the 2018 corporate tax, which stimulated spending in the industrial economy. And of course, there was also the ELD mandate that was looming over everyone's head. Now, in 2021, it was a different scenario. In 2021, there were lockdowns, people were at home, they were getting those stimulus checks while not spending a lot on gas and stuff like that, right? So they were kind of building up their cash reserves, and because everything was on lockdown, all they could do was spend on physical goods. In short, DAT states, and I quote, "While 2018 was an industrial-driven economy, 2021 was a consumer-driven one." Now let's talk about all the things that happened which resulted in the trucking industry that we see today. Both in 2018 and 2021, shippers were simply not prepared for the capacity crunch that happened. One shipper talked about how demand was so much higher than the available capacity that he couldn't find a truck to move his freight for any price. Now, this was in 2018, and this planted a seed in the mind of shippers. One shipper actually said, and I quote, "If you can't get capacity at any cost, that means you better look internally to your own resources so this doesn't happen to you again." So shippers were basically looking to create stability in their operations by simply increasing their own private fleets. Now, 2018 was the start of this, but as you can imagine, in 2021, it was another shock to the shippers that there was simply no capacity to choose from. So fast forward to today, Transport Topics actually covered the story saying that shippers, even though they know that they can save a few pennies on the spot market, for example, because of the situation we have today, they would much rather spend a little bit more on their own private fleets simply because it creates stability. Over the past year, the shipments handled by private fleets increased by 7.5%, and 72% of respondents in a survey said that they plan to increase their private fleets in the next 5 years. Now, while this capacity crunch was happening, especially in 2021, where there were simply not enough trucks to move all these loads, thanks to technology and thanks to the fact that it's pretty relatively easy to get into the trucking industry, everyone heard that trucking is a gold mine and people started flooding into this industry. Capacity started increasing, all while shippers were kind of secretly expanding their own private fleets, therefore reducing the volume, all while lockdowns started going away and people started spending in the service industry instead of in the goods, in the physical goods industry, and all while inflation and interest rates started going up. So the result? Well, capacity continued to increase while load volumes were decreasing because people are not very quick to react in the market. So we came to an inflection point where all of a sudden there are way more trucks than there is volume available. And what does that lead to? Lower rates. Now let's fast forward to 2024, the beginning of 2024, when it was the season for RFPs, requests for proposal, where carriers negotiate their rates for contracts, right? Contract carriers negotiate their rates with the shippers. Because the contract market does follow the spot market with a delay, what these carriers started finding is that those contract rates were being pushed down. So why is that an issue? Well, back in January of 2024, Knight-Swift made an announcement, and they basically said that because shippers were continuing to push rates down, they were simply not ready to commit to these lower rates over a period of time. And I quote here, "This resulted in more of our capacity being allocated to the spot market, which creates further pressure on revenue per mile and utilization." So folks like me, for example, who work off the spot market, we are now competing with those mega carriers as well. Then, of course, we have to talk about the US economy that has a direct influence on trucking. Inflation is insane. Interest rates are sky high. Consumer price index is insanely high. This means that consumers are buying less product for more money, which means they have less money in their pocket. This means that businesses are not able to grow or even sometimes maintain their current size. This means that demand from all sides is down in the dumps because nothing is really affordable anymore. And all of this, of course, leads to lower volumes. But wait, if demand is low, doesn't it mean that interest rates should be cut right now to kind of boost the economy? Yes, in theory, that is correct. The problem is the demand is not as low as you think, and we see that in our chart of the week and our volumes chart every single week. The reason demand is not as low as you would expect is because there are simply more people living in the US now than there were a few years ago. Immigration. So basically, we have a situation where demand was hiked up just because of the sheer number of people living in the US. But those people also need jobs, right? And in this economy, we have a situation where businesses that cannot expand, and some are contracting and reducing their workforce, right? They're not adding jobs, and we have more people looking for jobs. This creates insane competition for the work that is available. So what is the solution here? How can this market get better? Well, in the simplest of terms, either the volumes have to increase to be higher than the supply of trucks, or the supply of trucks has to decrease to make supply lower than the demand. The quote unquote easiest way to improve this market, even though it's not easy at all, is to make businesses and consumers feel more confident. And that means that there has to be a pretty steep reduction in interest rates and inflation has to go down so that businesses feel more confident in expanding their operations and so that consumers can finally have something in their pockets. Because the capacity side, reducing capacity, yeah, it's one of the ways to make the market better, but something that we have seen is capacity is pretty resilient. And even though it is leaving week over week, it is kind of trickling out rather than flowing out of the industry. Anyway, guys, I hope that this video gave you a better understanding of what exactly is happening. These are just some of the things that are happening all together to create the situation we're in today. Of course, there are a bunch of other things that have an effect, but I can't talk about all of them because this video would be hours and hours long. Wishing you all a fantastic rest of your week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep learning, and I will see you in the next video.